Coming up next on The Happy House, presented by Creative Kid Stuff, we're going to show you how to make something most people dread fun and memorable, the road trip. Right after these messages. Lots of people are scared of road trips because they can be long and you can encounter many challenges along the way. However, my friend Becky and I actually love road trips.
I do.
Because actually getting there is, I think, actually more than half the fun a lot of times.
Yes, for sure. That's when all the fun, crazy stuff happens.
But you do need to be equipped. We've got a whole bunch of tips today and ideas that we've used with our own families. So these are tried and true solutions for road trips. Let's talk about the obvious things first.
Yes.
Travel toys, right?
Yeah.
We all need travel toys.
It's kind of everyone's go-to, like the travel toys at the store. What are you going to buy? And
Yes.
I have some of those ideas here.
But I think one thing to think about with travel toys, we've got some of the traditional ones like this Where's Waldo travel collection, which I love because actually this book has so much in it. There's a lot of different puzzles and they even fold out. And they've got the checklist, so especially for older kids, this is really great. And it gets them away from the electronics too because they actually don't even know that they can get bored of their iPods or iPads until you take a road trip on. And then they're like, oh.
The breakdown.
The breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. But then we've got some non-traditional travel toys too.
Yes.
Like these animals. You might not think of those.
What I love about that is that who thinks to bring that on a road trip? But if you have your van set up right or your vehicle set up right, you can tuck these things away and pull them out when you need them. And mommy and a baby elephant.
And that actually also kind of allows for conversation or role play. Like whoever is the passenger up front, the parent passenger, can have a funny conversation or interaction with the kiddo, with the baby or the mama elephant. So you could actually have them even telling jokes to each other, which I think would be really fun too. So it's just a different way to communicate and pass some time. But you've got actually some really creative ideas that you do with your own family as far as games you kind of even make up. So talk to me about that.
We do a lot of making up. So I think it's really important to be prepared, have stuff ready, and then have your backup stuff. But things that are small that you can take.
What about the backup to the backup?
Right, and then so on and so forth. So I always put together some new stuff just on things I have at home. This is just an example of one that we did. This is a card that you actually let the child have in the car. It's like a scavenger hunt, basically. I'm teaching my 6-year-old now. She's learning to read, so we've got cat and cow. My younger little guy is 4. He needs pictures or color identifications. Then you've got this up front with mom or dad, and this is just a key to what they're looking for.
Okay.
And then when they spot the item, you have this up front too, and you pass back the card with their coin on it. And the goal of this is you're earning your spending money.
Yeah, which I think is a really great idea.
Lots of older kids can do dollar coins, quarters, but my kids love all the different shapes and colors, so we have those.
And another thing you've talked about is assigning jobs in the car as another way to earn spending money.
Yes.
Or actually, it can be both things, earning spending money, but also kind of being cognizant of how much things cost. So
yes, absolutely.
giving one of your children $100 and they're the banker. But
so you will not believe, the first time I did this with my son, I handed him 200 $1 bills. And I said, you're the banker, so you're gonna take all the money. And he was 4 at the time. He's just like, no way. I mean, it was amazing. So that kept him busy whenever we needed to stop to get gas.
Or if you needed a treat or whatever, it's like, oh, and then he sees the money kind of dwindling and he knows how much his vacation costs, but also has a part in it.
He's in charge of the cash. I mean, and we kind of guesstimate the length of the trip.
Yes.
So
talk to me about this one.
This is one that was really successful on our last trip. What we did was I made family trivia. So this is actually a card, like note cards that I had at home. I cut in half, and then I wrote mommy or daddy. And then the question on this one is
true or false, but
who has jumped out of an airplane? This is something my kids actually didn't know at the time. that Daddy has jumped out of an airplane.
I was like, I think that's Daddy.
It was not Mommy. So, and then they get to guess, and you can do something fun where you hand the envelope back to them, and it's got the answer inside.
Okay.
It
Or
just-
a picture of Daddy.
that would actually be really funny with a drawn parachute. That would be great. I'm gonna do that. So, and then this one, I always write the sentences so it's fun for the kids to read. So this isn't necessarily my best writing work. This one says, which auntie cuts dog's hair for her job? And then on this one I put Auntie Judy on the back, and I do go a little cuckoo with stickers because my kids are younger. They like it.
The visual. I actually knew the answer. I think I would win some of your family trivia if I was on your road trip.
It might happen. We're road tripping today.
Kids love to hear books read out loud, and it should be done at home. It should be done all the time. But when you're in the car, you do actually have a lot of time to do that.
I love that you say that because people think of the audio tape, and this is a way to get the whole family involved in the story. And yeah, that's
and
great.
You can even, and it can get a little dicey with car sickness, but I'm very lucky I don't get car sick when I read in the car. So you could actually also engage them, and they could read like a paragraph or something to be involved. But even big kids, it's really amazing how if you start reading, your 10 to 12 to 15-year-olds will just all of a sudden start listening, because adults are typically accomplished readers, and the inflection and intonation we can give really tells a story, and it's just relaxing. The reason I discovered this is I used to read the newspaper out loud to my husband while he did the driving, and the kids started...
Such a good wife.
I actually am, because the sports page is pretty dry. So anyways, I would read it, and my kids were listening to that. And so I thought, why not introduce some of these books that are a little harder to bite into, but The Secret Garden. But my 8-year-old can totally grasp this book, although he might not be able to navigate it himself. And so sharing a story like this on a family vacation is, 1, entertaining, 2, opens up discussion, and 3, it's a memory and an experience you all have together.
And you never forget that, because now that you're saying this, I do remember reading like the Narnia books, not in the car, but as a family with aunts and uncles, and I still remember that.
Yes.
So, stolen idea.
So I love it. And then also this book, I love this book. It's one of my go-tos, but it's called Pick Me Up. And this book, I love the fact that it has like bite-sized pieces on every page, facts about a variety of topics, like, hey, why don't you just take a minute to yourself and do a little bit of reading and then share with me what you've learned. And another thing, actually, the whole reading thing brings me up to, I mean, you have a schedule with your family, right? Every day?
We actually kind of implement how our day would go at home on the road too. So we have rest time, we have lunch time. It really wears you out to not have kind of a routine. So to say, okay, we're pulling over, it's nap time, everybody knows it's gonna happen.
Right. And if you read 20 minutes in the afternoon at 3, why not read 20 minutes in the car? And speaking of meal times, I know it's really tempting to just keep going. I think it's really important to get out of the vehicle and have
Should we talk about the pit stop?
Yes, let's talk about the pit stop.
Okay. I've got some treats down here. So I love this size cooler. 1, because it fits right in my van.
Between the front seats and the captain's chairs. It's actually thin enough. It's pretty narrow, so it fits just perfectly and allows for like a footrest.
It's a footrest, it's a table, we stop on the side of the road, it's a chair. It also, I can reach it from the front seat, so anything, snacks or toys that you need, backup toys, can go in here and you can access them really easily.
So you don't necessarily need to use this as a cooler. There's not ice in here. There's snacks that are not refrigerated. There's the pit stop toys, there's some surprises, all of that kind of stuff.
Yes, and this is one of my favorite things. It's the non-spillable snacks.
So this actually just has some almond butter with a little bit of Nutella in there, and then some pretzels on the side. Easy breezy compartments. You can just dip it and eat it.
And the whole idea is if this hits the floor, it's not
It's
liquid
not a
everywhere.
huge explosion.
It's kind of contained.
Yes.
And these snack packs are really handy too, which I love what you did to this apple. Second stolen idea.
If you need a snack and you're not going to stop for lunch, this is really great because, again, these snacks are non-spillable. And I actually did this apple. One of my favorite ideas to do with apples is I cut the top and the bottom off, and I core the center. So there is no core to this apple. The entire thing can be eaten, which I think is really great. Also, the top and the bottom get a tiny bit brown along the ride, but when you slice an apple into slices, it all gets brown, and the kids tend not to want to eat it. So this is how I get tricky.
I love that. I actually have had apple cores in my car.
Yeah, and then I have dried fruit and some almonds, and then celery, carrots, and some tomatoes, and then a mix. And this is another thing I like to do. It's tricky, but we often give kids at home one kind of cookie or one kind of cracker. If you mix it up on vacation, it just feels like such a it is exciting.
It's exciting.
It doesn't get better than this, honestly.
And all these things, if they did dump out on the floor and you didn't want to stop, they're not going to get sticky or, I mean, if you've got some time to recover.
Yeah, you can pick up the apple, obviously, but the rest of it is, actually probably all this is on the floor of my van right now. It's probably been there for a few weeks. Okay.
That's why we roll in the minivan.
Okay.
Okay. So the other thing I like to put in here is get the wiggles out when you make a pit stop. Yes. Have some activities for the kids to do. So,
because it's tempting, again, just rush into the bathroom, rush back. Take 5 to under 10, honestly, extra minutes and just make it happen. Yes. Make some exercise happen.
Now, I clearly am an artist. This is amazing. I sketched this out before I came this morning because I kind of wanted to see how long it would take if I just grabbed some pencils, like if I forgot to do it and wanted to do it on the road. So what this is you have a start, and then the kids, when they get out of the car, they need to move around. So this is 5 hops, 10 toe points. I have a ballerina daughter, so I have to do some basketball, some ballet on here. And they get to just mark off with a crayon or a marker what they've done. My little guy would burn through 3 of these easily in a couple stops because he loves this. So it's good to have some copies back up. And then I also put in my pack something called fitness dice,
which are actually one of the most awesome inventions ever.
I love these. They're soft. You can use them as a headrest if you get tired, but you roll these and it gives you a number and it gives you a thing. So this is, let's see, let's 10. Do 4. Let's do 4.
Okay, 4.
Okay, this is happening. Okay, so 4.
4 jumping jacks,
1,
really?
2, 3, and 4. Okay, now you mark it off on the thing.
My favorite is 10 push-ups, and then I tell my husband, drop it, go, right now.
I also have a jump rope,
yes.
A ball, and you can put whatever you want in here, whatever the kids like, but it should be something fresh that they're not used to playing with all the time unless it's combined with something new.
And I just want to go back to these dice. It's amazing how excited, because I've actually done this at class parties for my kiddos too, and it's amazing how excited kids get about being the ones in control, rolling the dice, reading the number. If they can read the words on the dice, that's really great too. And then something like this is right around $15. You'll use it for years. We found it at Creative Kids Stuff, and it's just a great staple. I actually, road trip aside, every household needs a set of these.
Absolutely.
And this also you were talking about as a way for earning spending money, is that correct?
You can say once you reach the end, you get a certain amount. You can put coins along the way. I mean, there's so many ways to adapt it to what works for your family. Some kids don't respond to coins. They need dollar bills. Yes. So, I mean, but it's a good way to earn something instead of just getting there and assuming that you're getting.
Both of us typically pack a bag for each person in our family, and then we know where everything is, so nobody's wondering where your socks are in the bag. And I think that works really well, especially if you're going to take like a 6-hour road trip and then be at a cabin for 4 days. Yep. But if you're going to be making 3 or 4 hotel stops on your trip,
pack a suitcase for your family. So when you walk into the hotel, you go in with 1 suitcase. You don't bring everybody's. You have
1 toiletry bag, 1 suitcase. Done.
You've got everybody's stuff, and then you have night 1, night 2, night 3, night 4. I tried it. It was amazing. And the kids were excited about packing with us. Like it was kind of a fun.
And then what we both do actually, and this was obvious to me, but a lot of people we've talked to about had no concept of this, but we bring garbage bags with us, and then the night before we're going to head back, we actually sort all of the clothes into lights, grays, reds, darks into the laundry bags, and then anything that's still clean just stays in a suitcase.
Laundry.
So then when we come home, we basically take those bags, dump them into our laundry baskets, and we are ready to roll on laundry, which is actually part of the angst of coming back from vacation, I think.
My husband was like, I'm like, all right, time to do the laundry. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, we're putting whites, and we separated. He didn't want to do it, and then when we got home, he was a believer because those suitcases sit unpacked for a week. Who wants to do it? Yeah.
We have to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more tips right after these messages. Welcome back. We're moving on with more great ideas for road trips.
All right, so this is where it gets good and dark. And I mean literally dark, because a lot of people travel at night and they want to go when the kids are sleeping.
They think their kids will sleep through the whole thing.
Sleep through the whole thing. So the kids are excited to be out and driving and they don't go to bed. So it's good to have dark toys, like things that work in the dark.
Okay.
So I have a light table that I created.
A DIY light table, basically.
Yeah, so this is a Tupperware. You want to look for something that's clear, probably frosting.
So it was actually clear on the bottom.
Yep, this is the color. This is what it was before. I've spray painted the inside of this bad boy with any kind of paint, because what you're doing is you're just trying to keep the light.
Make this opaque.
Yep. Block the light up from the bottom and get all the light to come through the top. So then you just go to any, store around. They have these pretty much anywhere.
Hardware stores.
Yeah, but they're just push lights. And these are LEDs so that you don't get heat in this box.
Okay.
It just stays cool.
Perfect. And we've put just a couple of, there's batteries. These are battery powered. They also have stickies. So if you, I wouldn't stick these down though, because you're going to need to change the batteries.
I wouldn't, and also depending on what you're doing on the top, which we'll get to, it's fun to change the light angles in here.
All right.
And you can also use these as night lights when you get to your spot. The kids have something to make it feel a little bit more homey.
Yeah.
Jinx.
I know.
So then what we're going to do actually right now is we're going to spray this with frost spray paint.
And why do you do that?
Well, we're going to spray the inside first of all, so the top is going to be still nice and clean. We don't want to see into here. We want to get the light out.
So then we're making this translucent.
Exactly.
Versus transparent.
So then the best way to spray paint is just grab a box, put your item in there, shake it like it's hot.
Okay. And this is like kind of a mock-up of what they would actually have at places that do a lot of this kind of painting, sort of a paint station.
Yeah. You might want to let it dry and do a few coats to get it nice and frosty. That's good for now. So once this is sprayed, you would turn these lights on, put the top on, and then have your playthings on the top. So I stick a bunch of stuff in here, and I'll show you what I make.
For storage, but then it comes out when
comes
you're
out to play, but it also, they don't want to have everything out on the top at the same time, so they just keep it on their lap inside and the lights can be on. I have these file dividers. Do you want to cut a shape in that?
Yes.
And then I also picked up these just folders that are kind of this plasticky. These were like $3, I think, for the pack. I'll grab that so it doesn't blow away. These were less, like a couple dollars.
Okay.
And then what you can do is when you put the top on here, and light this guy up, you put it on top, you can do color layering, they can see, like it's great to get prime colors, red, yellow, and blue.
You could even do like a scene, like a tree stem or a tree.
That's actually a great idea. Layer them up and see what color makes in the middle. And then I have, because I have these light tables at home, some of my favorite toys that we always bring with. So these are magnetiles. Have you ever heard? I got these at Creative Kid Stuff.
They're one of the most awesome toys actually ever created.
Yeah, it's a magnetic system, so this comes with a lot of pieces, and they build like this.
Yes.
On here, we just lay them flat and see what effects we get. So then I also just have, I would stock this with random translucent things. So I am a big dork, so I wrote happy spray on this because when my kids get crabby, I say, get your happy spray. There's nothing in here. Spray yourself, like it needs to happen. I also have just little like cups. These are just, things I had around.
And I like this because these are 3-dimensional versus 2. So they actually, you can tip them over and you could actually put then, like you've got these. So what happens when you put this into this? How does that look?
And honestly, my daughter will just sit and sort. I mean, she loves these things. And you can spill them out if you want to flip this over. So you have an edge. After this is dry, you can just dump these out in here and it stays right in there. And you can just you can arrange those in pictures. You can just make geometric shapes.
Yes.
And I actually have one that's full of face paint glitter that I tape shut. Important step. Because she likes to shake it and see how she can see the light through the glitter.
Yeah. So many great things to do with that. It's
just dump it on.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you start looking around your house, you will be surprised at how many sort of clear colored things you can see. And then
it
all
doesn't
in.
have to be clear either.
No,
yeah,
all in this project is like under $10.
I would say for this box, this spray paint, and all this stuff in there, under 15.
Yes.
I mean, minus the magnetiles, which I just pulled out of another set. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The stuff you have at home is already there. So.
Can we just talk about glow sticks for a second?
They're not just for Halloween. They are not.
If you are traveling at night, buy a lot of these because they'll just stay busy. And then they can also, if you get the big fat ones, it can be like a reading light that doesn't disturb people as they sleep. So.
And I think these come in bracelets, and a lot of times they're $1 for like 12. But kids, I'll just put them on my kids' wrists, and they just like to sort of watch what happens with that. They also don't, unless your kids are, well, depending on what age they are, don't necessarily activate them for them. That's part of the fun.
Yeah,
Let them feel the crackle and break them themselves, and then shake them to make the glow happen. I feel like we might want to move into the van.
Let's move on, because we could talk about this for the rest of the day, right?
Yeah, so let's move on, and actually, let's get our kiddos situated in the van and get ready to roll. All right, we're all packed up for our road trip now. We've got our kiddos buckled in, and they are enjoying some snacks that are handy. We actually put these trays into the side of the van right there, so one of the passengers can grab them easily, and they can just put them on their laps. So other people have maybe car lap trays, but if you have some of any kind of plastic or metal tray, you can just use those. And these are really nice because they're thin. They tuck right down in there. And they're also great because they're magnetic. So I've got these fun magnetic shapes. You can get letters, you can get a variety of things, but that way the kids can also use their trays to play. There's a horse, Chandler. And as you can see, we've got our cooler situated, which once we get moving, I would put closer to the kids, but they could, again, reach inside for the items they want and reach snacks on the top. We've busted open our snack pack here, and they are munching away. We also have this really convenient caddy between their seats, and we just ordered this online, and it was very inexpensive, but it holds drinks and coloring things and activities. And the nice thing is also, that's why these trays are so handy, because they do have a spot to do those things on.
And the trays also come with half-eaten apple.
Oh, do they? Okay. One thing I like to do if you have a van or a car that has adjustable seating is fold one area down, as I've done here, so that it's really easy to get in and out. And it also gives kids a new perspective. So maybe put them in a seat that they don't typically ride in to kind of shake things up for the ride. The way I've set things up here, because we're just traveling with 2 kids, it also gives space between the driver and the front seat passenger and the kiddos, so everybody feels like they have their space to do what they need to do. Do you need me to open that for you?
Yeah.
I think we are ready to roll. Thank you so much for coming on our road trip with us. For more tips and tricks on taking road trips with kids, log on to our website. Coming up next week, tips for making homework easier and mornings go better. And then, quick and easy updos. Finally, fun and unique ways to show off your family memories. Coming up next.